One number changed everything in the St. Catharines real estate market in June 2026, and it wasn't the average sale price. Months of inventory jumped from 7.5 to 8.8, which is over 17% in 1 month. Now this data and all the other data points that we're going to be looking at show you as a buyer or as a seller what the market is doing in St. Catharines, and it's important information to stay in tune with. I'm David Hildebrand, your St. Catharines and Niagara real estate agent. And this month's market update, we're going to go over the month-over-month statistics, year-over-year data, as well as what it means for buyers and sellers so that you can be educated as you look to buy or sell in St. Catharines. Now, if you want to get this monthly market update each and every month for St. Catharines, you can just click the link in the description and I will send that to you each and every month so you can stay in tune with the St. Catharines market. And if you want to reach out to talk about real estate or just talk about where the market's at or about your specific situation, I'm always available for a call. You can call or text me at 905-353-5149. Now, let's take a look at the months of inventory and all the other data for this month in St. Catharines. All right, so this is our monthly market report for St. Catharines. This is what the report would look like if it was being sent to you. So we're gonna skip over the city overview and we're gonna go straight into the month-over-month statistics for St. Catharines. So this is comparing May 2026 to June 2026 and the percentage change from those months. So if we look to benchmark sale price to start, May had a benchmark sale price of $527,500, and in June we saw that dip to $522,900, which is a 0.87% decline. Now, as we go to months of inventory, this is a statistic that we brought up in the intro. That jumped to 17.3% from 7.5 to 8.8. And if you're not familiar with months of inventory, that's the number that indicates whether it's a seller's or a buyer's market. If that number sits between 4 to 6 months of inventory, we're in a balanced market. Anything above 6 is a buyer's market. Anything under 4 is a seller's market. And basically that number just means if no other active inventory came onto the market, how long would it take to sell what's currently listed at the rate that it's currently selling? So we're at 8.8 months. That has been quite an increase in St. Catharines, which shows buyers are gaining leverage as we head into the summertime. Price per square foot, I don't really pay attention to because a lot of inventory will change that number based off of the type of finishes. Obviously, a house with better finishes is going to sell for more per square foot. So as we go to homes sold, we saw that that number dipped slightly from last month by 0.8%. New listings went down by 2.24%, and then active inventory, also these three numbers stayed relatively the same between the months, went down just 0.48%. Now, cumulative days on market is how long a home has been listed from the day it was first listed to the day it sells. That statistic for St. Catharines is 54 days on market in May, which is a relatively strong number, to 61 days on market in June, which is an increase of 13%, but still sitting at 2 months cumulative days on market is not bad if you are a seller. That's a decent number as we head into the summer. And then sale to list ratio, that dipped 1.7% from 98.4% to 96.7%. And if you're a seller or a buyer, this number generally in a balanced market, we'll see that number at around 97 to 98%. So just to see that dip slightly below that 97% mark shows that buyers are gaining a little bit of leverage in the market in terms of shaving dollars off of the asking price. Now let's jump over to year over year, which shows where the market's gone from June 2025 to June 2026. So if we look at benchmark sale price again, the price has gone down 5.92% from $555,800 in June last year to $522,900 this year. Months of inventory has actually gone down since last June, slightly to 8.8 months of inventory. Price per square foot, again, not super concerned about that, but that number has dipped slightly. And then as we look to amount of homes sold, we've seen quite a large increase in the amount of homes sold, increasing by 19%. New listings we see is up as well, up 3.1% from where we sat last June. And then active inventory is slightly down by 1.73%. And cumulative days on market last year was actually really a good number as well at 47 days on market, and this year is at 61. And then we see that the sale to list ratio is actually, even though the benchmark price has gone down, we see that that number has gone up by 0.4%. So sellers have been adjusting nicely to the downward market, showing that they're able to still get relatively close to asking price, and sellers are just aware of where they should be pricing properties. So in terms of the big picture, St. Catharines has continued to gradually soften. Although the story is more nuanced, benchmark prices are down 6% from last year, and average days on market has increased, so the market isn't as good as it was last June. But the positives are good. Sales volume is up, and there's a strong sign that buyers are actively transacting despite prices being soft. And new listings is also up, showing that there is more inventory in the market. And we see that, as we talked about, sale to list price ratio has remained the same year over year, increased slightly, showing that sellers have adjusted well to the market. St. Catharines has repriced appropriately and is showing signs that it can be healthy even as prices have gone down. All right, now finally, we're just going to look at a location comparison, comparing Niagara as a whole to St. Catharines. Now, St. Catharines is the largest city in Niagara, so it does carry the most volume and the most weight in the area. But as we look to this, we just see that the benchmark price for Niagara is slightly higher. There are more expensive areas in Niagara. Grimsby and Pelham specifically would be areas, as well as Niagara on the Lake. But months of inventory in St. Catharines is lower than Niagara as a whole by a whole month. Price per square foot is higher. Homes sold obviously is going to be lower, and then new listings and active inventory. These numbers are pretty high, but just the amount of new listings there are shows that there is still a lot of inventory that isn't being scooped up, and buyers do have opportunity in the market. Cumulative days on market for Niagara also does sit higher at 77 days on market versus 61 in St. Catharines, although and then sale to list ratio is very close, 96.9% in Niagara and 96.7% in St. Catharines. So that's your location comparison between Niagara and St. Catharines, just to show you where the two markets are at right now. All right, so what does this mean for buyers if you're looking to buy in St. Catharines? Well, we have seen that the market has shifted and leverage has been brought back to buyers slightly comparing May to June. We saw an increase in days on market as well as new listings, which are both indicators that buyers are gaining leverage and there's more to choose from, and therefore more negotiating room for you as a buyer. If I'm looking towards summer and July and August, I anticipate that buyers will continue to have leverage until the September market hits, when things pick up again. So I would say move forward with confidence, getting your pre-approval, and then get going on finding a house in the next couple of months, as that's where I'm anticipating where the most leverage, buying power, and value is gonna be for you as a buyer. Sellers, list price is the most important thing when you're gonna be listing your home, more important than the marketing plan that is put in when your home is marketed, because we saw that days on market has risen to 61, and we saw months of inventory, which we already talked about, rise to 8.8 months of inventory. So the one thing that you're gonna wanna do to make sure your home stands out in the market, more than the photos, more than the video, is gonna be the list price, because buyers see value, and where they see value, they're gonna put their money. And so if your home doesn't offer the value that other homes are offering, they're gonna go and take their money elsewhere. So if you are looking to list your price, you need to have a realtor that knows the area, knows how to price well, so that your home will sell. So before you list, make sure to call me, as I know the St. Catharines area inside and out, and we can establish a game plan for success for the sale of your home. Now, again, if you want this full market report sent to your inbox each and every month, you can just click the link in the description and I will get you set up on that, so you get all the up-to-date statistics every month, so that you can make the best decision possible for you and your family as it pertains to buying and selling real estate. Now, if you're looking to see where the market has gone over the past number of months, you can check out my monthly market updates. I've got our last market update just here for you to watch, so I will see you in that video.